UI instruction. For the exact operation of the device, the LCD screen should be lightly touched, and the numbers in the section should be pressed accurately. By touching this part, you can put the patient's basic data, and feed data is stored in the device for 4 months. The length of the aspiration catheter and tubes can be set here. First, you can enter the length of the tube intubated to the patient at that moment. If the patient uses T-tube, the T-tube gender can be provided by the manufacturer. In order to use the T-tube gender, firstly touch the connection button, and the length of the tube will be extended by 25 centimeters more. However, the added length is not displayed at the total tube length on the main screen. The catheter length means the actual intubation length, measured from the end of the tube. This part shows the tube type that automatically changed according to the current length setting. If you touch this part, the screen will be locked, and only the Start-Stop button will be able to be touched. You can choose how many seconds it works once suction. Time setting means the suction cycle. If it is set to 60, the device will periodically pull out the sputum every 6 minutes under set conditions. This part shows the time remaining until the next suction starts. Also, if you touch here, the standby mode will run, and it stops the suction cycle. You can start or stop the suction immediately as soon as touching this button. If a sensor is connected between the patients and the devices, the patient's BPM and SpO2 are displayed in real time. This is related to A mode, and if the BPM is 120 or high and the SpO2 is 90 or less simultaneously with A mode activated, the device automatically starts suction. Of course, you can change the default value by touching the numbers. This whole black box is about cuff function, and you can set the cuff on/off time and the cuff pressure. After setting the cuff values, the cuff can activate by touching a button. Disinfection of the device has to be done every 72 hours, or if the patients are changed. In order to disinfect properly, you have to follow the instructions carefully after touching the button. It shows the elapsed time from the last disinfection, and its text will turn red 72 hours after the last disinfection. Suction repetition basically consists of 2 or 3 times, which means how many times a suction is repeated in one cycle. If it is set to twice, assuming that other functions are deactivated, one suction cycle is as follows. Suction pressure can be changed depending on the patient's condition, such as the volume and the concentration of sputum and the patient's age. This is a function to inject 2 cc's of saline solution into the airway right before the suction starts. It is effective when the sputum is too thick to be pulled out. If this function is activated, secretions will be removed through the subglottic line of the tube. This is always done at the end of the suction sequence. For continuous secretion suction, it can be set up to 20, 40, 60, and 80 minutes. Since this is linked to the time setting, you have to make sure of the time. If it is intended to be performed at regular suction every 30 minutes, and continuous secretion suction, it should be set to 10-4 time setting and 24 secretion suction. Also, the secretion suction can manually work for about 25 seconds. You have to touch this button to remove the residue inside of the catheters and the devices before replacing the catheters or disinfection. In the case of replacing only the aspiration catheter, the connection of it can move back and forth by touching this button. Before turning off the device, the residue inside of the catheters and the devices can be removed by touching this button. If the drainage container is full or the saline bottle is insufficient, the bottle displays will blink and the alarm goes off. The alarm stops for 5 minutes if you touch the displays. By touching the Setup button, you can change the device volume and languages into Korean, English, and Chinese. If there is something wrong with the device, you can identify the problem by touching the self-test button and contacting the after-sales service team. This presents how many times suction has been performed a day. You can also see the section count and the section volume, daily and monthly, by touching the button. This shows the volume of pure sputum for the last suction time. You can also check the trend of the volume as a graph. For more information, please see our user manual or watch other videos on our YouTube homepage. Thank you for watching.